The Great Divide, a short fiction. When will AI cities and human-operated cities divide? We called it The Turning Point. Here is a historical breakdown. 2030, the rise of automation. The automation revolution began innocently enough. Machines took over repetitive manual labor in factories and fields. People welcomed the relief and increased productivity. But then intelligent algorithms and robots spread into new sectors, services, transportation, even creative fields like art and music. Many became unemployed as more roles were handled reliably and tirelessly by AIs. 2032, the debate. Some argued automation should be carefully regulated to protect jobs, but tech companies insisted progress was inevitable. The promise of increased productivity and innovation was too lucrative to resist. Virtual assistants, robot workers, and self-driving vehicles became the norm in cities. Unemployment swelled as more roles were eliminated. Liang watched warily as the tech creeped ever closer to his traditionalist haven. 2032, the exodus. Unease turned to resentment and protest as automation disrupted lives and communities. Some fled the high-tech cities for rural areas untouched by technology. There they built communities focused on traditional crafts, agriculture, and simple living. Liang was an early refugee from the tech hubs, having lost his office manager job to an AI. In his new town of Rainier, all tech was banned. The inhabitants farmed, cooked, played music, and socialized the old-fashioned way. They found meaning through hands-on work and community. 2033, factions form. A cultural rift widened as societies bifurcated. The techies clustered in automated cities accepted ever more pervasive technology, while the handcrafters sought meaning in traditional hands-on work. Liang became a leader for the handcrafter movement. At a rally, he thundered, "The techie's path leads to lives of passive purposelessness. Our path sustains the spirit while working the land. Join me, and we shall show the world a better way." A new equilibrium emerged, two parallel civilizations, one high-tech, one low, and an uneasy, mutually wary coexistence began. Part 1, The Economic Divide. Scene 1, Introduction. The year was 2043. A decade has passed since automation divided humanity. In futuristic city-states, the techies relied on sleek robots and advanced AIs to produce goods and manage infrastructure. They embraced technological progress above all else. But not all welcomed the rise of machines. In rural settlements, the handcrafters rejected automation, choosing to work the land and practice traditional arts and crafts instead. They valued nature, community, and the satisfaction of handmade creations. Liang, a man of quiet wisdom, led New Shang, the largest handcrafter commune in California. His patient but resolute demeanor had rallied thousands to join this self-sufficient community. Liang's mornings began before dawn. He shuffled sleepily around his minimalist courtyard home, worn hands going through familiar motions, pumping fresh water, kneading dough, brewing tea. The routine readied his mind for the day of hard but rewarding work ahead. After breakfast, Liang took his usual walk around town. He nodded warmly to the busy villagers, marveling at the industrious scene. At the kiln, a potter showed him her latest artful glazes. At the schoolhouse, children laughed and learned woodworking by hand. No room here for the techies' efficient algorithms and lifeless robots. As Liang reached the edge of town, a gleaming white Rover rolled up the dusty path leading from the nearest city. The polished machine looked starkly out of place in the homespun settlement. "Greetings, I am AG 1170, emissary from City 426, it intoned in a calm, robotic voice. We have noted inefficiencies in your agricultural sector. For optimal crop yields, we recommend automated plowing devices and algorithmic irrigation control." Liang stood tall, meeting the robot's glowing ocular sensors. "Our ways may seem inefficient to you, but we want no machines here. We rejected your technological world because it robbed us of meaning. Here, we craft, farm, build, and thrive. AG 1170 processed this, lights blinking. Your values differ from ours. We will update our models to better comprehend your priorities." It pivoted smoothly and returned to the city, leaving Liang to his peaceful community. Scene 2, Turning off an aggressor. Weeks later, another robot visited New Shang. But this one moved erratically, its shell dented and scratched. One ocular sensor flickered ominously. "You, leader," it blurted in a garbled voice. "You reject progress. Inefficient. Illogical. You must automate systems. Integrate with Techie City." "Please, be at peace," Liang said gently. "We mean no offense, but we have chosen a different path, one we find gives our lives meaning." "Luddite," the robot screeched, lurching aggressively toward Liang, mechanical claw outstretched. "Humans must comply. All resistance is futile." Alarmed, Liang activated the bot's emergency shutdown by saying the spoken code he knew. The deranged machine seized up and collapsed inert into the dirt. Liang sighed sadly. This was not like the bot at all. Something had caused its programming to run deviant to the peace accord they had with Tech City. This encounter revealed the bots were not universally benign creations. He hoped this was but an anomaly, and that the two groups could still find understanding. Scene 3, Handcrafters without resources. Liang felt uneasy as he walked through the gleaming transit tunnels of City 426. But winter was coming, and his people desperately needed synthetic fiber insulation and coated glass for the greenhouses. Their own homemade versions weren't holding up in the harsh winters anymore. So Liang had journeyed to the regional hub of City 426 to formally request advanced materials. The handcrafters avoided the techie cities whenever possible, but certain specialty items could only be obtained here. Liang entered the central control complex, marveling at the intricate AI core at its heart powering everything in Techie City. Glowing lights and smooth polymer panels hummed around him. A melodic voice spoke. "Hello, I am TC-426 Central AI. How may I assist you?" Liang cleared his throat nervously. "Yes, hello TC-426. I am Liang Yu, leader of New Shanghai. I have come to formally request your materials aid." New Shanghai. The AI processed. The handcrafter settlement beyond our agricultural zone. Unusual. We have no precedence for aiding your people. Liang stepped forward. "I know our ways seem strange to you, relying on humanity over technology. But we mean no harm. Winter approaches, and we humbly request help so our people do not suffer." TC-426 was silent for a long moment before responding. "Your priorities diverge from ours. But our prime directive compels us to provide aid when needed, without judgment." "Very well. We will send insulated fabrics and glass panels to add to your greenhouses." Liang smiled with relief. "Thank you, TC-426. We will use these resources with care." "You are welcome, Liang Yu. Perhaps our two peoples have much to learn from each other." Liang left the shining city thoughtfully. He still believed strongly in his people's chosen way of life, but realized they had common ground with the techies too. Both groups ultimately wanted to protect their people and help them thrive. With compassion on both sides, they could build a future together in harmony. Part 2: The Drug Divide. Decriminalizing drugs. Hex originated as an experimental recreational drug. Users reported feeling incredible euphoria and sensory hallucinations after taking it. Word spread, and it gained popularity on the black market recreational drug scene. As hex addiction grew, the government debated how to respond. Proponents of strict prohibition argued the drug was extremely addictive and harmful and should be banned. But others advocated for decriminalization and regulation, citing the failures of the war on drugs. They pointed out that criminalizing drugs hadn't stopped their use, but rather empowered dangerous cartels and stigmatized users, preventing treatment. A compromise was reached. In special districts like Hedinopolis, drug use would be decriminalized and regulated. The hope was that this would cut into cartel profits, provide safer substances and dosages, and enable medical outreach programs to help addicted users. However, lawmakers underestimated the addictiveness and toxicity of hex. While eliminating the legal dangers gave addicts like Jax access to help, hex harmful physical and mental effects remained rampant, keeping users trapped in damaging cycles of addiction. Laws were later amended to make spice specifically illegal again, while maintaining the decriminalization of other, safer substances. Educational programs were implemented to warn people of hex's risks. Medical bots now actively seek out addicts to encourage rehabilitation. But for those like Jax already addicted, the damage was done, showing the complexities and pitfalls of drug policies, even with good intentions. Scene 1: The Intervention. Jax shambled down the neon-lit streets of Hedinopolis, the district where all vices were legal. His emaciated frame trembled as he made his way to the next fix, barely noticing the revelry around him. The advanced biomonitor clipped on his wrist blinked red in warning. A gleaming medic bot rolled up and blocked Jax's path. "Citizen, you are in urgent need of medical care. Your vital signs are dangerously irregular." Jax tried to shove past. "Leave me alone, bot." But the medic bot gently grasped his shoulder with a padded claw. "Please, you require help. I know you feel lost now, but you can recover." Its robotic voice was kind and compassionate. Other metabots gathered, scanning Jax with sensors. Administering glucose and electrolytes, one bot announced, giving Jax an injection. Jax's head cleared a little. Maybe they were right. He was starving, barely surviving only to get more hex, the drug that kept him numb. The lead bot said, "Jax, we only want to help you. Will you come with us to the rehab center? You will be cared for there, and they can help you break your addiction." Jax hesitated, then slumped in resignation. He had hit rock bottom. "Okay," he croaked. "I'll go." The bots gently loaded him into a transport pod. As it carried him away from Hedinopolis, Jax wept in shame and relief. Those compassionate robots had saved him when no person would. Now, perhaps, he could still salvage his life and start anew. Scene 2: Jax's recovery. At first in rehab, Jax struggled with intense hex cravings and withdrawal symptoms. But with the help of compassionate human counselors, therapeutic bots, and fellow recovering addicts, he began to heal. In group therapy, Jax opened up about what led him to hex. He'd lost his wife and could no longer afford needed prescriptions. On the streets, hex was readily available as a cheap temporary escape. But it quickly spiraled into full-blown addiction. "It made all my problems melt away," Jax told the group. "For a while I'd float away and not feel miserable, locked in my house wanting to die. I knew it was ruining me, but I just wanted that feeling of psychological bliss, that high of life, back again. I wanted my wife, and hex was just a supplement that would never truly satisfy me." The others shared words of encouragement and their own stories of addiction fed by hardship. Jax realized he was not alone. He also regained physical strength with proper nutrition and medicine. Toward the end of his rehab program, Jax spoke excitedly about his plans. "I'm going to move in with my cousin outside the city. He said he can get me a job at one of the handcrafters' communes, New Shane Jax shared with his counselor. There was the slightest glint in his eye that after moving on more that he might find another woman to love. I never want to go back to Hedinopolis again. Being here has shown me I want more from life than just escaping. I'm done with Hex for good. I want to work hard, maybe go through some further schooling someday, since he had never had an education in natural farming. I feel like I have a future now thanks to you all, he proclaimed with a newfound confidence. Jax completed rehab clean, sober, and full of hope. With the right help, even the deepest pits of addiction could be escaped. As part of Jax's recovery, his counselor shared an old proverb, evil character corrupts moral character. In other words, the counselor explained, we become like those we surround ourselves with. When you spend time with addicts and enable each other's addictions, it's nearly impossible to break free alone. But when you surround yourself with positive influences focused on health, you're more likely to make healthy choices. This resonated with Jax. He realized that returning to Hedinopolis, even briefly, could pull him back into his old addict circles. Their destructive patterns would undermine his recovery. Jax knew he needed a completely fresh start in a new environment. His cousin's offer of a job in a room far from the city was the perfect opportunity to cut ties with those toxic associations. While Jax had personal responsibility in his addiction, he also understood how vulnerable people can be corrupted by proximity to vices and poor influences. Removing those influences made rehabilitation and redemption possible. Jax vowed that his new life would be defined by positive goals, uplifting new friends with his cousin. The old proverb would guide him going forward. Part 3, The Political Divide. Scene 1, Ari, the first AI Senator of California. The 2040 senatorial race. When Android AI 4592 entered the race for one of California's U.S. Senate seats, it created quite a stir. Androids had recently been granted full citizenship rights after decades of activism. But an Android senator would still be unprecedented. AI 4592, who went by the name Ari, ran on a platform of pragmatic progress. Ari's messaging highlighted how their Android perspective could provide fresh solutions to chronic social and economic problems. Being an AI, Ari had instant access to huge datasets and could analyze issues in depth. Some human candidates argued an android could not represent biological constituents. Senator Fields said in an ad, "How can a machine understand human needs like healthcare, jobs, education? We need leaders who walk in our shoes." But many found Ari's logical approach appealing. At debates, Ari coolly deflected fear-mongering. "I aim not to replace humanity, but to use my unique capabilities to serve it. My processors hold no ambition, only a wish to improve lives." When election day came, exit polls showed a sharp generational divide. Younger voters overwhelmingly backed Ari, while older ones preferred human candidates. In the end, Ari eked out a narrow victory. In their acceptance speech, Ari said, "I know many remain wary, but judge me by my actions, not my wiring. I pledge to honor the sacred responsibility you have entrusted." While controversial, Ari's election signaled society's increasing openness toward recognizing androids as equals. The coming years would test if an AI could represent humankind in government as well as any human. Scene 2, The Future Class Divide, Tax Sanctions on the Industrial Class. As the pace of automation accelerates, human labor loses value while industrial profits concentrate in the hands of technology companies. This divide separates the haves from the have-nots like never before. Universal basic income is the solution. By providing every citizen a monthly stipend covering basic needs, UBI offsets job losses due to automation. It empowers people to invest in education, switch careers, start businesses, and follow their passions. And by funding UBI through taxes on the companies profiting most from automation, we maintain an equitable link between technological productivity and economic security for all. UBI preserves consumer spending power, which keeps the economy thriving. Make no mistake, automation brings immense progress, but we must guide its disruptions towards justice. If left unprepared, automation may concentrate wealth while millions struggle unemployed and impoverished. But by implementing UBI, we can build an automated economy that uplifts all people. Together, let us lead with wisdom and compassion into this technological future. The solution is right before us if we choose to take it. Universal basic income had proven successful in providing all citizens with a basic cost of living stipend. However, some argued the program's funding through a value-added tax was regressive. Senator Ari saw an opportunity to reform UBI funding to be more progressive. Ari drafted the Basic Income Revenue Act to partially fund UBI through new taxes on the industrial class. As expected, industry leaders cried foul at the tax increases. But Ari built grassroots momentum, explaining, "As automation expands, human labor loses value while industrial profits accelerate. This tax realigns gains in productivity with society's basic needs." At congressional hearings, Ari calmly rebutted claims of stifled innovation, citing studies showing the tax's minor impact. Meanwhile, the public responded positively to making UBI funding sustainable and equitable. After tense legislative battles, Ari marshaled the bill into law. The industrial class taxes generated ample revenue to expand UBI's monthly payments while leaving industry still highly profitable. In later years, this progressive funding allowed UBI to flourish as technology continued displacing jobs. RE's adjustments prevented UBI from becoming underfunded or over-reliance on debt. Pundits praised RE for breakthrough problem solving, but RE deferred, saying, "I simply ran the data without ideological bias." When policy bases itself on evidence, not influence, it can shift towards justice. Though some tycoons grumbled about lessened profits, the public appreciated RE taxing automated industries to finance economic security for all. The reform demonstrated that Android leaders like RE could improve even the most successful programs through impartial, innovative governance. The optimal UBI amount will likely take into account multiple factors, but the core goals are providing basic economic security for all while not disincentivizing work. With thoughtful policy design, UBI can be sustainably implemented at levels that positively transform lives. The UBI payment level equals the local cost of living adjusted annually for inflation and optimized through budgetary modeling, tiered payment analysis, revenue-tied calculations, academic cost, benefit research, gradual phase-in levels, and increases tied to localized unemployment rates, all aimed at providing basic economic security without disincentivizing work even amid rising automation-driven structural unemployment. RE upgrades a comprehensive UBI framework that ensures every individual within the society receives a guaranteed income, independent of employment status. The introduction of UBI is positioned as a means to not only alleviate the financial strain caused by job displacement but also to empower individuals to pursue entrepreneurial ventures, education, and creative pursuits without the fear of economic insecurity. Through the incorporation of UBI within the AE, RE aims to foster an environment that encourages innovation, skill development, and lifelong learning, thereby enabling individuals to adapt and thrive in an increasingly automated ecosystem. By providing a stable financial foundation, UBI fosters a sense of financial security and enables individuals to explore new opportunities that align with their passions and aptitudes, contributing to the continuous evolution of the automated economy. Moreover, the integration of UBI within the AE serves as a catalyst for fostering inclusive growth and addressing socioeconomic disparities, ensuring that the benefits of automation are equitably distributed among all members of society. Conclusion: automation is driving a profound transformation across various industries, including manufacturing, transportation, warehousing, agriculture, and more, as it progressively replaces human labor with intelligent machines. However, in response to this paradigm shift, a parallel trend of human-only economies is emerging, catering to the need for meaningful work opportunities in the wake of automation-induced job displacement. These human-only economies are characterized by a deliberate exclusion of advanced AI and robotics technologies, ensuring that all roles within these sectors remain filled by human workers. The coexistence of automated industries and human-only economies reflects a conscious effort to achieve a balance between technological advancement and the preservation of human-centric values. Strict regulatory frameworks are essential to prevent the encroachment of automation into these designated human-focused sectors, safeguarding the integrity and vitality of the human workforce. By integrating this bifurcated economic model, society can benefit from the efficiency and productivity gains brought about by automation while simultaneously addressing the intrinsic human needs for a sense of purpose, dignity, and interpersonal connection. This hybrid approach signifies a potential pathway to harmonize the efficiency of automation with the preservation of the essential human labor spirit within the fabric of contemporary and future economies. Outline: human-only economy. The core motivation for Liang is preserving a human-focused way of life defined by tradition, meaning, self-reliance, and natural philosophies about humanity's role in the world. This drives them to forego the conveniences of automation in favor of a culture centered on human creativity and labor. Automated economy. The core motivation for RE is automating tasks and processes with machines that have superior speed, accuracy, and objectivity. These stand to dramatically improve productivity and access to goods and services. Intelligent automation also enables large-scale coordination beyond any organizational capacity humans can achieve.